dance floors, from red carpet premieres to cultural festivals. Nigerians and Africans in the diaspora are making waves.
I am Ike Udechime. Join me as we highlight the voices and victories of Africans living in the diaspora.
Welcome to Diaspora 5, where home meets the world.
Learn and grow. Things should know is where teenagers are empowered with the right knowledge to thrive. Our parents are equipped with the tools to guide them, because when teenagers know better, they do better. My name is Ifoma the Prof Wato, and I'm your host on the TSK show. So I want to welcome you to another episode of the TSK show, the platform where we explore conversations that shapes families, teenagers, and the society. And on today's episode, we are looking at 2 words, 1 role: parenting styles across borders. We live in a world where parenting looks completely different depending on where you are. In Nigeria, parenting is deeply cultural, often rooted in discipline, respect, and communal upbringing. But in many Western countries, parents lean more towards independence, emotional expression, and personal boundaries. So today we'll be exploring, is one better, or are both shaped by environment, culture, and social survival needs? So I have a guest in the studio and we'll be discussing this very topic. But before then, we'll go on a short break, and when we are back, you will meet our guest for today. Stay tuned.
We are local.
The international community is observing
The white baby market is in chaos. People
We are national.
Those in support of this motion as amended, say aye.
Aye.
We have taken the view by default.
We are international.
Israeli airstrikes.
Donald Trump left us the worst unemployment.
Signature TV, news in your pocket.
All right, welcome back, and we'll be meeting our guest very shortly now. Joining us is someone who has experienced both worlds firsthand. Having lived in Europe while still deeply connected to Nigerian roots, he has observed how many parents raise their children in the Western world compared to what we know here in Nigeria. Please welcome my guest as we have a sincere conversation on parenting beyond borders. Good afternoon and welcome to TSK show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Good to have you here. Our guest is Prince Victor Wato, and I'm going to talk about him just before the end of the show, but for now he's my guest and we'll be having this discussion on parenting across borders. I know that parents at home, you're watching and you are ready to listen. So I have the first question for you. When you moved abroad, looking at your experience of what parenting is in Nigeria and how it is in the Western world, so what was the first difference you observed? What was that first thing that struck, like, this is not how we used to do it back home?
I will say firstly I was shocked. at the what we call cultural shock. That was my first experience, because I noticed that parents don't talk to their children with authority. They talk to them like pals or equals, compared to what is obtainable in Nigeria or in Africa.
Oh, wow. Okay, so now, how do you describe a typical Nigerian parenting with what it is abroad?
A typical Nigerian parenting makes a child to grow up with timidness.
Wow.
And fear compared to what is obtainable in Europe, where children are raised from kindergarten or nursery age to be bold and confident, believing in what they call self-esteem as a human being.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I know that Nigerian parents don't like their children talking back at them.
Yes.
Because you talked about we raise children being timid.
Yeah.
But I know that I think it's at some point
that
children want to break free from that timidness by trying to discover themselves. So now, looking at the Nigerian parenting style where children are raised not to talk back at their parents, and over there children can freely say anything to their parents. Do we look at that aspect of talking back at their parents in the European in the Western world as being disrespectful, because these children are bold that they can say anything at any time, and that doesn't happen here in Nigeria?
Well, the European world, they believe in what they call equality, whether as a child or as a parent. And as a parent, your role as a parent is being from birth at the hospital. They will explain to you that you are only a caretaker of this child, that this child belongs to father, mother, and the society. Like here we say the child belongs to the society, but actually the child no longer belongs to the society in Nigeria, for example. Because over there the government has a role to play in the parenting of every child, and that makes it a little bit complex for the parents. They are a kind of unsafe when dealing with their children. Yes.
So but let's look at this talking back per se. You know, here when your parents are talking, you're not meant to talk. Sometimes you are not even meant to express yourself, even when you know what to say. Our parents over here see it that you're being disrespectful, you're challenging an adult. But over there, a child can tell you no to your face and even tell you as a parent that you are wrong. Do you think that level of independence for a child in expression is okay, or is better the way we do it in Nigeria?
It's a cultural thing. They didn't develop it all of a sudden. It took them years of analyzing the society. Like in Europe, talking back is not norm. When one person is talking, it's expected of the other to listen. So even your child will tell you, listen and don't talk when I'm talking. And you have to, it's not, he will tell you, I'm now talking, you listen to me. And that makes them, they grow up with so much confidence and boldness, and it helps them. They can tell you anything, this right of self-expression. As an African, I was shocked when my children, but then I asked questions and they told me that it's here. In Africa, it's authoritative. You talk, your children listen. There, this thing they say here, you go explain tire. Your role is to explain. As a parent or as a father or mother, you must explain every point to them. And that is also wonderful.
Okay. I love that to an extent, because I know that if he's back here, your parent is talking and you're telling the parent, listen, I'm talking back, you will receive slap with slippers and all of that. So now abroad, we know that children start gaining independence at a very early stage. Do you encourage that?
I would say partly.
Okay.
The independence they get helps them to become what they are. It's about expression and thinking. Like there's a saying, only a free mind can think. Teenagers are kind of entangled in a web in African context. But over there, this freedom to express themselves in various ways, it helps them to be more creative than teenagers here.
Because they have a level of independence
and liberty.
Liberty.
Yeah.
Okay, now we look at it and we feel over here that parenting in Nigeria is shaped by survival and respect to culture, while over there is based on emotional well-being of the child. Do you agree to that?
No, I don't.
Okay, why?
Because culture is always evolving, it's always changing, and it's a process that everyone needs to adapt to. That's why I don't believe in it.
Okay.
What we see as culture today
might change
tomorrow. So we need to define certain things in this society which we have failed to do. That's what I should say about that.
Okay, so at what point do you think children should be given a kind of liberty to do things on their own? Is it at a particular stage or a particular level, maybe in education, that children should be given this freedom that we are talking about?
I think they should be given this freedom as early as possible, even in childhood stage, because we are all born with different talents. Many of the talents that die in Africa is as a result of parenting. Let me give an ignorance.
Okay.
This culture of 18 makes a father or parents to force a child who was born to be a left-hander to force that child to start using the right hand. It's not done in Europe. They see it's embedded in culture to use left to take food as wrong,
as disrespect,
as disrespectful, or to shake somebody. There's nothing like that. There's no scientific evidence about that. So culture is always pushing us most times behind others, even in parenting. If you're not free to develop your talent, if you're not free to develop your skills, then you'll be lacking behind in the world of today.
So at a very little age, they should allow a child do certain things because this left hand of a thing has been an issue. I've also argued it with some persons that I don't see anything wrong with a child eating with the left hand and forcing a child you must use your right hand because the child dropped something with the left and the mom have to hit her like you shouldn't use your left. I said that's the hand that is at that point comfortable for her to do whatever she wants to do. Okay, now while we were talking some time ago, you mentioned something about we were talking about grades in class. Like here in Nigeria, where at the end of every term or every section, the school calls out the best performing students, like the high graders, so to say, and the high performing students, where we say this is the overall best in this, overall best in that, maybe first, second, and third. And you said over there that children have this privacy that nobody else should know about their results except them themselves. It's not made public. Now I ask, what does it actually encourage? Because to me, I feel that the public ranking makes a child to put in more effort. But you're saying from your own experience over there, it affects the child self-esteem. So let's strike a balance on this now.
Okay, I went to school here, primary, secondary school. In primary school, at the end of the term, result is being called out in the open for everybody. Over there, a child gets his result and close it in a map. Because of the privacy law, nobody's allowed to see it. Only the parents, and they have to sign that they've seen it and return it. So the child doesn't know who is the class best, who failed and who didn't fail. Because it's an emotional thing for a child to cry because of his grades in front of others. Many children or adults today, this degrading or calling out somebody made them not even to perform in life, because it makes you to feel inferior
And you are not enough.
that you're not good enough. And to save that child from that kind of a situation, the results are kept secret for everybody. So you develop at your own pace. You are not under pressure to outperform anybody, because there are this thing we call talent or knowledge. It's not given even. So it's only the teacher that knows who needs extra lesson, who needs
To
extra
upgrade.
time and things like that, not the next person sitting to you. So nobody will mock a child during break time and call him Olodo or Mumu. It doesn't happen there. And I find out as something very good.
Okay, you encourage that.
I encourage it.
Okay, but I believe that to me, somehow,
Yeah,
if a child, I know is more like a competition.
yeah,
So somehow it will motivate the child
Yeah.
to do more.
Yeah.
But since you are not agreeing with me on that,
Yeah.
so what is the best, healthier way to motivate a child to do better without lowering their self-esteem, making them feel bad, and affecting them maybe emotionally?
That's why we have tests, aptitude tests and skills. The best way is to expose that child to different aspects of learning and skills. Some children are gifted in drawing, but here we have parents always like to push the children to a particular rule or schema in the society. Most parents want their children to be doctors, lawyers, engineers. No. There, your individual talent
And ability.
and ability is the main thing. Your joy. You must do something that gives you joy, something that you
You
drive
find fulfillment.
fulfillment in. Some people are doing certain jobs here in Africa. They are not happy with it. If you give them the chance, they will choose something else. There, people are left, or children, teenagers, they choose whatsoever they like. That's why they are able to maintain a high level of employment in the society. Everybody must not be a graduate. Everybody must not be a good scholar. So you better be a good carpenter and contribute to the society, because they believe in dignity of labor. A carpenter cannot be assaulted by somebody who is a doctor, and every job pays. You can take any job and take it to a higher level. A painter, for example, I know a painter who has a Lamborghini. You can't find something like that here in Nigeria.
Yes.
Your skill,
Because we see those things as menial jobs.
there's no menial job there. Every job has its dignity. You're a cameraman, you can be the best camera, you can take it to another level. That's why they have minimum wage. And that minimum wage must keep you above poverty level. You can't look down on any job or any profession. It's not done. A carpenter is richer than a doctor.
In some parts.
In some parts, a plumber is richer than a professor.
Wow.
Yeah. So a child will say proudly, I want to be a carpenter. In kindergarten, they bring, in nursery school, we call it kindergarten, they bring all sorts of works. Carpenters will come and explain in kindergarten.
At
that early age. In nursery school, carpenter will come, fire service men will come, they will take the children there, they will take them to the politicians, they will take them to hospital. So
they start making their choices early.
So early in life. And the parents, your duty is just to support him. You don't tell him, this is what I want you to do.
And I've come to observe that in this part of the world, sometimes when parents push children into becoming maybe going into a particular profession, sometimes it's not because of the child, it's for their own personal gain.
Interest. Yes. That's a wrong form of parenting. Individuality is encouraged, creativity is encouraged, but here is killed. Some family here, I know a case of a schoolmate who the family wanted him to be a medical doctor at all cost, because almost everybody in that family
Is a medical doctor.
was or is a medical doctor. He failed and failed, and at the end they contributed money and said, now we've seen that this thing is not your thing, and they gave him money to start business. But he wasted so many years trying to get admission, taking jump, the best teachers, the best lesson. These fingers are not equal. That's what we should know in Africa.
Oh wow, this is becoming so interesting. The conversation is eye-opening, and I believe that parents who are at home and you are watching us, I believe you're learning one or two things, that children should be left, especially teenagers, to take certain decisions, especially when it comes to their career choice. So we'll go on a short break now, and when we come back, we'll continue more on this conversation. Please do not go anywhere. Stay tuned.
With a population of about 36 million people, the Southeast is awash with stories. Every day on Southeast News, we tell the peculiar story of the Southeast and her people.
Our Southeast should be the Silicon Valley of Nigeria.
Their successes, achievements, and daily challenges. Do you have a Southeast story to share? Community achievements and challenges, completed and uncompleted projects, bad roads, water scarcity, erosion, flooding, insecurity, or even disagreements? Bring it on to Southeast News. On Southeast News, no story is too big or too small. Southeast News. Let's tell our story. Showing on Signature TV every weekday at 4 p.m. WAT, 1600 hours GMT.
Welcome back. So far we've touched on the differences between both parenting worlds and how they shape children differently, and we'll continue on this conversation. Our guest is still here and he's going to tell us more as we are almost rounding off this segment of the TSK show. So what do you think Nigerian parents should learn from other parents in the Western world?
I think it has to do with education, and that's where the government has to come in. There should be awareness creation on parenting, because it's making us to kill a lot of talents. This traditional, it must be the way, influencing wrong influencing of the teenagers. It should stop. I met somebody recently. He told me, uncle, I know that if you have stayed in Nigeria, my mother would have left me to be a footballer. I was a good footballer. I was the captain of my school. But because my mother said no to a football career, I ended up not being a footballer, and today I'm a tailor. And he's very sad. So in order to avoid such situations, we should encourage the teenager, give them some kind of free hand, not totally free hand, but know that they have their own mind. It's not about us. They should not make up for our failures. Give them free hand, kind of. We only need to advise them, encourage them, give them information, help them the way we can to pursue their goal, not to choose for them. Let them make their choice. They can make mistakes, but they will learn from their mistakes.
Having lived in both worlds, Nigeria and abroad, is there anything you think those living abroad can learn from parenting back home based on our culture, ethics, and morals?
There's a lot.
A lot?
Yes. Okay. There's a lot. But because of time strain, I don't think I have to say much on that. Okay. We can learn from both societies, both cultures, because sometimes the free hand is also being abused by teenagers.
Yes, of course.
Because they know that parents can smack them, teachers can punish them. Some percentage of the teenagers, they abuse this freedom that they have, but they will later regret it in life. Yes.
Okay. So thank you very much for coming on the TSK show. Today's conversation is clear that parenting styles may differ, but the goal is the same: raising responsible, confident children. Nigerian parenting brings strong values and respect, while Western parenting encourages expression and independence. The beauty is in finding balance, learning, adjusting, and parenting with wisdom. Thank you for staying with us. Until next time, keep growing and keep leading with intention. My name is Ifoma the Prof Nwato. I'm your host on the TSK show, and today my guest is actually my own elder brother, who is a father figure to me. I said I'm going to talk about him at the end of this show. So today I want to celebrate my brother for coming on the show to support what I'm doing. Thank you so much, sir, for being part of the TSK show.
Thank you.
And to my viewers over there, is a wrap for today. Thank you for joining us. See you next time.
Health is more than a diagnosis. It's your lifestyle, your choices, and your future. Join us on Inside Health, your weekly deep dive into the stories, science, and solutions shaping your well-being. From expert interviews to real-life journeys of healing and hope, we cover it all.
One of the complications of cancer management or treatment is they have, some of them, at one point in time, you see them having anemia. Okay, so you see them at times being transfused. But at the same time, you come in with the diet.
Nutrition, mental health, innovations in medicine, fitness, and everyday wellness. Whether you're managing a condition, staying informed, or just living your best life, Inside Health is your trusted guide.
I'm Tigiti Agorum, and I'll be with you every week on Inside Health, only on Signature TV.
You're welcome to Signature Television Unscripted. My name is Mike Obani. Today we are going to look at the conviction and sentencing by the Federal High Court in Abuja of the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu. He was convicted and later sentenced for life imprisonment. It's been a week of increase in insecurity in the country, at the point that we thought that the insecurity issue was ebbing. But we do see that there was an abduction of school children in Kebbi, an attack on the Catholic Church in Kwara State, and everywhere it looks as the bandits have a free ride. We'll look at that, and also we'll look at the deepening leadership crisis in the People's Democratic Party after the convention. There was a crisis the other day on who will take over the PDP Secretariat in Abuja. Here with me in the studio to dissect these matters Dr. Stan Ukeje. Dr. Ukeje, you are welcome to the program.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you, and the headmaster of the house,
you say so.
Mr. Christian Madoka. Yes. Thank you very much, gentlemen. How did you feel about the conviction and sentencing of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu? Did you expect that to happen?
Well, in decision making, we have what we call a binomial or binary. Things can go one way or the other. If you take exam, you can pass, you can fail. If you pass, you continue. If you fail, you repeat or you ignore it. So the outcome is one of the expected. Except for me, the judge was predictable because he was not, in my view, restrained. A judge should be, people should be guessing a judge, not he's disclosing himself. I think in the matter of the PDP, he was the same thing. You know, they gave him a date they fixed for their convention, and he said he was going to do it before the end of October, when actually there's 11 days left, and the decision he made was also very constraining. So that's how I say. I mean, it's.
One had thought that at the point, when Nigeria is facing, a lot of, crises, especially the insecurity crisis and disunity, among the tribes that make up the country, one had thought that the federal government will apply the political option, and release Nnamdi Kanu for peace to reign in the land. Mr. Madoka, what are the implications of the conviction and sentencing of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu? What are the implications as far as the Southeast is concerned? I heard the lawyer, the prosecutor, a lawyer for the federal government, saying that now the people of the Southeast will now sleep with their eyes closed because Nnamdi Kanu has been taken up. Do you subscribe to that kind of opinion, that kind of view? Do you see peace, reigning in the Southeast because Nnamdi Kanu is in jail now?
The prosecutor has his own opinion, and throughout the case before now, the prosecutor has also always been fingered as somebody who has playing his master's voice. So whatever he said is also swallowed in that impression that he is speaking his master's voice. That's by the way. The Southeast people have learned so much within the time of Nnamdi Kanu's trial, and they have resolved that this is not time to because they believe that whenever any man is crying each time pointing to his chest, that it is always easier to tell the gods or the malevolent gods where your life is. So the Southeast people are reflecting. What they have in their mind is not yet out, and they are clearly watching what the federal government will finally do. And whenever the owl will cry at night and the child dies in the morning, you will find out that why is it only a motor show? In every of these serious cases that require some people recall themselves, a motor show will stand and bend. There are, I will tell you, because I live in the street and live in Southeast, and I'm engaging the feeling of the people. The people of Southeast are now feeling that somewhere along the line, some people are planning to clash the Igbos and the Yorubas. It now become a tribal war. But they are becoming, they are reasoning above that and find out that say, the Tata Egypt, Echinjegide, they are watching to see where this will take us to. And all eyes are open. So everybody is at alert. It's not yet time to comment or reserve.
Yeah.
Like somebody said, they asked him his opinion, he said he commented reserve. This is not even time to comment reserve. This is time to reflect on the reserve, and the reserve are yet to come.
For me, I think that when you sentence Nnamdi Kanu for a life imprisonment, you have in a way indirectly sentenced over 40 million, 50 million Igbos to life imprisonment. I mean, this is not a personal matter that has to do with Nnamdi Kanu alone. You are talking about a whole tribe, because we do know what Nnamdi Kanu stood for. For those of us who were there during the Civil War, one can still remember, the atrocities meted against the Igbos, even before the Civil War erupted. And Nnamdi Kanu, I don't know whether he was born before the war or he was a kid, when the war started. But I think he read about the Civil War and got infuriated about what actually happened. I do think that this is a continuation of the Civil War. His sentencing is a continuation of the Civil War. I don't know whether I'm right to have that kind of opinion, Dr. KJ.
Well, certainly the trial, the IPOB, and their campaign is all political. If this was maybe South America, you could definitely call Nnamdi Kanu a political prisoner because it's politics. Because even in law, there's a philosophy. You could call him Mr. Nnamdi Kanu, Mazi, as he calls himself, but the house in which he lives, what he calls the IPOB, it was preceded by Masob. And if I did remember, it was that Masob existed during the military regime of Abacha. What they did was to put up Biafran flags everywhere. But I think Abacha was busy doing his own thing, and he didn't. It was Obasanjo that really tackled Masob. And he was doing it on behalf of some people, not just for himself. Because there are, I was surprised to hear that Nnamdi Kanu had been sent to Sokoto prison. And if you remember, when Saro-Wiwa was hanged, the hangman came from Sokoto prison. So, sending him there is like, see your victim. You have it, you are pilot.
Except that he was not sentenced to life, death
No, I'm
penalty.
only saying that when Saro-Wiwa was convicted in Port Harcourt, there is a hanging device there. But somebody came from Sokoto to hang those 8 Ogoni people, Saro-Wiwa and the others. There must be a hangman, if not in Port Harcourt, in Ikoto.
And it's very close by.
Now, there are places closer to Abuja you could have sent him, assuming that you think that his supporters are around Abuja that may be disturbing the prison. But it does show that there are places that belong to some people and don't belong to other people. That's what. But for me, the context, if somebody is agitating and asking for something, the simple answer, the judge himself ought to reflect on the context. That these people say they want to be on their own. Or this boy is saying that he's leading a movement to be on his own. A clear comment on such a thing. It may even refer to political campaigns and say, people have been talking about restructuring. Why don't you restructure in order to give people a sense of ownership? That the government has become too distant, too centralized. I read the charges as published in the Punch. It was ridiculous for me. In fact, I consider it hilarious because about 3 of the charges talked about conduct in London by Nnamdi Kanu. And the charge said, within the jurisdiction of the court. I knew that Nigeria was under London as a metropolitan head. I didn't know that London now is under Nigeria.
It's a county.
The judge was not even saying within the jurisdiction of ENUGU judicial.
So, one of the charges again talked about remarks made about Buhari. That he was an idiot, he was a pedophile, he was this and that. Those are not terrorists, in my view. Because let us remember that before law became a profession, there was law. God gave us the 10 Commandments. A lawyer or any other person can say, do not take the name of your God in vain. In how many ways can you do that? That's now breaking it down. But it doesn't mean that ordinary people don't understand what law means. You must put a judgment within the context. It's politics. I'm sure that if there were more mature people in IPOB, they may ask Nnamdi Kanu not to appeal.
Yeah.
You have convicted him, keep him. It will be an issue because it's a political matter. It's not a matter of because I don't see that Buhari is already dead, but I don't know whether he came to testify or somebody came to testify to his character that he's not a pedophile, he is not an idiot, he is not this. So how do you convict people on such matters? And if a matter has become controversial, the prosecutor, I understood from what I read in the press, asked for the death sentence. Are you following? Good. Now, within this country, within our own lifetime, in the 90s, Wole Soyinka, Tinubu, a lot of people, they set up Radio Kudirat, and they were broadcasting to Nigeria and instructing people on bombing attack. But Tinubu is president today. Assuming that he was convicted and jailed or executed, he wouldn't be president today. So there must be moderation. You must show that you have had all sides. Although Kanu did not defend himself, but the context is already well known. The days when judges cover their ear is gone because every judge has an Android phone. The government supplies him with newspapers. He has radio. So many of the things in his court filter to him. What the prosecutor and the defense are saying are hard by, but he must put them in a context. Because you can even sentence somebody to death, but give him all the benefit by exhaustively reviewing the case. You know?
I'm alarmed really, Mr. Madoka. I'm alarmed that the president, that's President Tinubu, allowed this matter, you know, to, the trial of Nnamdi Kanu to go ahead, even after the Supreme Court had given ruling, even the appeal court had given rulings, in favor of Nnamdi Kanu, release this man and all that and all that. I see it as, for now, I see it as a campaign issue. The conviction of and sentencing of Nnamdi Kanu, I see it as a campaign issue. Don't be surprised that in the next 6 months, 12 months, when we would have gotten into the campaign, 2027 campaign, the issue of the president will now come out to say, I'm granting him prerogative of mercy in order to draw votes from the Southeast. Do you share that view?
Well, if not because I know you as a veteran journalist, I would say you are a political advisor to some people because you're already thinking politically. Well, I think everything is possible in Nigeria, but one thing that stands out is a country that even the international community has said we lack rule of law. There are so many things. This is a man who has been standing trial. When they find him free and discharged by some competent courts in Nigeria, you did not allow him go, and you make a fresh charge and go and rearrest him. For whatever happened, you put him to court. The court say allow him to go. First, second, third, you still did not. You held him back and sat down on your own desk and write charge. For somebody in your own custody, you put a charge and you give it to a court. And the man said, I have no offense, and nobody is here is qualified to try me. So the jurisdiction of the court and the power of that court to try is under question. Somebody said, under normal circumstances, that judge would have said, since my jurisdiction to handle this case is under, I recount myself from this case. So somebody or another court that have competent jurisdiction. And somebody said, I did not have an offense. And the federal government, from all indication from the word go, is that if somebody say, I do not have an offense. So when you say you grant him pardon, somebody said that was the argument why his name did not appear in the name of people, over 175 people or 82, they granted amnesty or something. prerogative of mercy that his name wasn't there because he said it's not. So there was no ground. If somebody said I'm not, you can't say a ground of. So finally, we thought, which way you have thought, because we are thinking. Event must make us think. I am thinking personally that what they want to do is to put a charge on him, so that even if at a time there will be consideration for mercy, then you have to put it that, okay, you were given life sentence, you could have been dead, but I'm now saying we free you for the same. I've never heard of Motosho mentioning Jesus' Bible. But in this judgment, he mentioned Bible because of whatever reason. Thank God that even our judges have begun to recognize there's another thing false that they can bow down to. So he didn't condemn him to death because of, if the same God that the Motosho is calling that I am calling, so fine. We appreciate that and we say kudos. But we are saying that whatever it is that they want to get to a point. So this is a case that so many Nigerians are predicting and it's turning out the same way. Somebody said that the justice system or the judges at that high level should not be predicted. But this particular case, a lot of people are predicting and it's coming out true. So let's pray that whatever we are predicting that will come to 100% true of give a dog a name. Either to hang or to lose him up. So we are making a progress and getting to somewhere.
I would think that it is correct to say that you don't have a second chance to leave a first good impression. I'm sure if the government, by any reason, say they are pardoning him, the damage had already been done in the psyche. I want to draw your attention to something. After the 2011 election, the result came out, and the Goodluck Jonathan won. Olesho Inka circulated some information. What he said, which was surprising to me, he said, let us see how the Southeast alone could govern the country. But Jonathan was not from the Southeast.
Maybe he didn't know where Jonathan
They know, at his level of president, they know, they just people want to cause confusion. They pretend they're ignorance.
And then from there, the APC came up. One of the things that Tinubu said at that time was that looking at the electoral register, because it was Goodluck Jonathan's reforms that actually brought something that looks like a credible electoral register, because it was published and given to all the political parties. He said that looking at this register, that the Southwest and the Northwest can rule Nigeria forever because of the demographics, which is true. And you can see it at play. He worked for Buhari, then he got himself. Many of the people who are keeping quiet in the North are looking forward to succeeding Tinubu. So the Southeast is not in reckoning. And that's why this zonal structure is offensive to some people. What they want is North-South. There's a king of the South and a king of the North. Others are
considered minority.
Not just minority, they just stay behind me and take whatever I drop. You see, politics, by one definition, is the art of the possible. If you can do something and get away with it, you will do it. So it's even magnanimous to think that somebody may grant him pardon. Because if they don't consider that your vote is important, or that they can take that your vote, regardless of where you vote,
then
they don't need to make that concession. Indeed, one day I was traveling to Abuja after the 2015 election. I was driving. A policeman, just a constable, said, where are you coming from? I said, ENUGU. He said, here, I hope you people have surrendered. That was somewhere around Kogi State. That was the word he used. So that is why I was talking about the judge and the philosophy of law. In Igbo speak, they say that if you're holding somebody down, you're holding yourself, because if you get up, the person will get up. So for the benefit of everybody in the country, all the nations that make up Nigeria, freedom is important, liberty. If you liberate others, liberate yourself, you then will be free to do other things. But all this, watch them, don't allow them to come.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw when Trump issued a threat after, I think, a Federal Executive Council meeting, the Minister of Information, he has a very good visage. Not just that he's handsome, he looks quiet. But when he was addressing the press, I saw Onanuga behind him. And I wonder, is he monitoring the minister to know what he will say? But that is the arrogance of power. That's why I say that politics is the art of the possible. The definition that politics is government of the is just an ideal. In reality, if you can get away with something, because some people define law as rules made by the superior to which the inferior is bound. It may sound crude, but that is how things operate.
Yeah. I was just going to say that we reserve our comment.
Oh,
we reserve our comment until you know, the appropriate time, until we get into 2026 and see what President Buhari will do with President Tinubu. President Buhari, may he so rest in peace. Where President Tinubu will do with Nnamdi Kanu. But I mean, a lot of people, you know, have commented on his trial and sentencing, conviction and sentencing, and I mean, there is no justice in it, and I think that justice is important for Nigeria to move forward. And that brings us to the issue of the rise in insecurity in the country. One had thought that releasing Nnamdi Kanu, you know, by the president would have brought a whole lot of peace in the in fact, let me not just restrict it to the south. It's what Nigeria, you know, because the federal government is, I want to think the federal government is thinking about unity and peace, but they are doing things that you know, do not lend itself to unity and peace. And that's part of the reason why I think myself, that's part of the reason why the insecurity situation is, you know, going high. And it's gotten a point where schools have been shut down. 41 schools, you know, unity schools have been shut down. In Katsina State, for instance, all the schools, public schools there, government schools and all the schools in Katsina State have been closed down. In Plateau State, the same. And the country seems to be on a roller coaster, sort of, you know. And one is wondering why the government is not taking the issue of security serious. Remember the other day that a brigadier general, a whole brigadier general was killed by these insurgents. The soldiers who went to rescue the abducted schoolgirls were ambushed. So where are we going?
You said something about when you want to, you do not go to sow seeds with squirrel in your bag. The way my people speak about it. If you want peace, your body language, directly or indirectly, by commission or mission, must show that you want peace. You are not too far from it when you say that the seed of discord that has led us to this high level of insecurity, banditry, terror, kidnap, killings, and the life of millions of Nigerians has become like worthless. Started. When did we start hearing it? How did Boko Haram enter the dictionary of Nigerians and we start hearing it? Even small children now would line their talks with Boko Haram. Is it not because somebody was felt, the followers of the same man felt that their leader were killed unjustly? And we say you do not use pepper to cure madness. Since then, Nigeria have not had rest. And it has grown. Because once you fetch firewood infested, ant-infested firewood, lizards will come. And those lizards will feed it on they will grow fatter and giving birth to more lizards. That is what has happened. Look at when we start. Now the whole country, look at the resurgence. Look at the boldness. Look at every part of Nigeria.
The audacity of the insurgents, the audacity of the kidnappers, you know.
The viral videos that are making round. Children are watching, women are watching, everybody are watching this. We are human life people like you are. They are deadly, they are bloodthirsty. You will be asking, what has brought this kind of wickedness into their mind? And more is happening because I was discussing in my family. I said, you know that if a child is growing up in the presence of his parents, you killed the father, you killed the mother, you took him to IDP camp. He grew up there in that situation. Tomorrow you tell him what? What are you going to preach to him that will make him not to kill? And have revenge because he will hate everybody. Look at how these killings are going on. Where is the country going that you convince somebody that the mother or the grandmother has gone to church in Kwara? You see the golden picture they released about how they killed and mocked up human bodies, mocked up. And the maybe relations. Our people say, when they carry the body of another person, the dead body of it looks like it's a log of wood. Some people will be somewhere speaking this English. But people who have felt the sting of this bandit and terror.
Yes.
When are they going to forgive this country?
Yeah.
What is the offense for being a Nigerian? That's all. That's the offense. And they ask, do they deserve to die this way? What is the offense?
Is it a question of the federal government of Nigeria under President Tinubu not having the capacity to rein in, these insurgents, to have the capacity to deal with the bandits, have the capacity to deal with the kidnappers? Is it a question of conspiracy or incapacity?
Political will, power was lacked from the word go. It's not just start. Because the first start, it's like wound first time. And then it got to cancerous level. Stage 4 of cancer. You brought in a doctor. You see that you cut up that place? Even when you cut up, you make sure that it has not gotten into grown, the cells have not gone into other parts because it will still grow back. So you must know where to ampute that leg from. If that leg becomes cancerous. It started 2009. Look at where we are. 2012, they are where people were hanging with gloves. People who saw that these people are not really from their part of religion kept quiet.
Yes.
They were feeling because they call the same God, Allah. And some people felt that they are safe. But when the thing first started, everybody became. Now, what are we arguing in Nigeria? Christians are killed.
Yes. Dr. KJ, is President Trump justified to say he's coming to invade Nigeria? Justified? He's saying that he will come to invade Nigeria because of the killings of Christians.
These are just political lingo.
Yeah.
Because from what Chris has just been telling us, most people are in politics for what they can get for themselves. You know, when you say that a government is a government of the people, I'm sure that if people from Arochukwu or Hafia constituency were asked to send somebody to the Senate, they are going to look very, very wide and far before they pick one person. But a system where you find anybody can come up as if you're at Market Road and be shouting on each Ofonyo, whether he has a vehicle or not.
When there are about 9 passengers to go there.
People are recruited to stay in a vehicle. When you come, they say 2 persons. If you are not familiar with our place, people will be going down one by one. You see the people, there's no luggage. So that is where we are. In the 70s, the United States public broadcaster, Voice of America, used to talk about ungoverned areas, space in Africa. And you have ungoverned space because of the organization of the country. Because organization is a technology. If you go to an office and you see the person on a central desk, you consider that person to be the person with authority. But if you see somebody behind the door and he has authority, and you go to the person looking like his authority, he has deliberately created confusion. The country ought to be organized for effectiveness. It's not organized for effectiveness. Part of what we are seeing now had always been there. In the days of wooden lorries, if you watched vehicles going along the highway, on their tailboard, you will see a lot of icons. Either an angel with a sword to kill somebody, or somebody with a bow and arrow. Some of the inscriptions talk about what we are seeing now. You know, the term Boko Haram was invented by a BBC correspondent. That's not the name of the organization. They say they are people for jihad. They are people for jihad. If you have a country and there are people for jihad, that is a signal that there will be a problem. But you don't need to fight them. What you need to tell them that this entity called Nigeria comprises of people for and against jihad. And the benefit of jihad is in heaven. Stay in your corner. Run according to your principles. Nigeria is a trading zone. Actually, the country is united because it has one currency. That's why you can go to Sokoto and you buy a car there and come bring it here. If Sokoto was in Niger, you will need an exchange mechanism to get there. You need a passport or laissez-passer. If we organize properly, even at state level, people with different tendencies are in one state. But organize yourself. You think that you are the most wonderful people in this state. Good. Stay in that your area. Do that wonderful thing you say you can do. That is why there is disturbances. Because if you come to the federal level, you find offices filled up by people from one particular nation or a few nations within Nigeria. But in the state from where they come, there is other development. In other words, if you are experts, you should have shown your expertise in your home. It's only a masquerade that comes out to say he's a champion. In the land of the dead, he has not resurrected anybody.
No, but we're talking about, we are the president of the United States of America, is accusing Nigeria of committing genocide against Christians. And there's been several denials of these allegations by officials of the federal government. After Trump made his remarks or accusations or allegations, you see insurgency, you see more people being killed, you see a Catholic church in Kwara State being attacked, people abducted, you see the abduction of schoolgirls in you see insecurity, rising, so do you think Trump is coming?
If Trump, because Trump, the country Trump is coming from, no matter the mindset of Trump, is a country with the rule of law. They have started open up hearing at the Congress, and they're taking reports from different committees and they're putting it together. From all indication, they are not fire brigade people. President has said, then the president need to be guided and said, President, you said this. These are facts available. I think you are right. If you now want to take decision, the data is in. I think the president, getting intels from across the world, but people working for him have enough data. But the Congress, the parliament under which the democracy function, he couldn't have taken it. That's why he still allow room for
interrogation,
for further details, so that there will be inquiry and they have clear evidence. Evidence are there, and the enough evidence are even what is happening in Nigeria now. The world has become a very small village. Well, before it happened in my village, the people in London will call me and tell me, did you hear that they kill people in your village, and they tell you names. So the world is circulating around here, and the Trump is also at the top of as big brother of Africa. He's getting it, and he has very powerful security organizations working for him.
Yeah, Mr. Maduka, let me just say, if you were Mr. Tinubu, the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, would you allow this insecurity issue to escalate against the backdrop of what President Trump said?
I am a student of crisis communication. And the part of crisis communication is to accept there's an issue. then you take action and then reassure. There are 3. If you do not accept 3 A's in crisis communication, Nigeria is at the peak of crisis. So as a leader, denial will not help us, and that denial is playing into the hand of the faulty ones. Yeah. My father said, when the situation needs, then the corny ones will benefit. So the best thing is for the leader of the country to say, yes, there are. Yeah. Then if you now want to quantify it, okay, it does not mean the Christians are killed alone. That means, because people have come out and said it's not Christians that are killed. So, there were killings. You are now profiling it. That's one. Instead of accepting directly, why are we going into argument, meaning we have accepted? But we have not taken action. The action is, we need you to come and help us. Let's work out how we can help, so that it will not be that when you come to help, there will be other liabilities that go with it. Let even know the gain and the liability of your coming to help. Yes. We discuss it. And you come back to assure the people, take the case, take control of your, write your own story. Why should America write the story for you, telling you there's genocide in your country, you are denying it, which are they are seeing it every day. Within the time Trump said this and now, are we still denying? I'm not interested whether you call it genocide or killings. Nigerians are killed every day. Yeah. As you are talking now, they are still being killed. What are we doing? Is it to continue in denial? Will it save us? If that is not saving the situation and the boldness has taken them, meaning that the people who are doing this are cashing into our denying the situation. Okay. To prove to the world there is what Trump is saying is what else, how else can you say?
It's our responsibility here to also tell, advise the government as much as we can, and that's why I'm putting this to the question to Dr. Ukeje. What can we do as a people to stop or to minimize the rate of killings of our people? I mean, it's getting too much.
Well, that's you're taking a cue from his crisis theory. And I go back to what I said before. You must accept people the way they are. If there are people who believe that when you die after jihad, you will get 7 virgins.
70.
Is it 70?
Yeah.
Okay. There are other people who believe that when you die and you are lucky to be in heaven, there will be neither wives or husbands, sons or daughters. Organize them the way they are. India and Pakistan and Bangladesh was one country under the British Raj. At independence in 1947, they split. While we were fighting in Biafra, Bangladesh and Pakistan split. What was called East Pakistan became Bangladesh. But those 3 countries still don't know peace because they have not organized the people the way they feel. You know what we call sentiment. Sentiment. It is real. Some people dismiss it as sentiment. If I meet Chris, maybe in the say in Washington, and I look at him, I don't know him before, and I say, "Onya diko onye Igbo." It's not an insult. Like he resembles an Igbo person. If he's an Igbo person, he will agree. If he's not, he goes his way.
Yeah.
So I think it's this bringing together of people who do not know themselves, who do not accept themselves at a particular level. And effort is not being done to create that harmony. While I was in primary school, the reader that we read every year contained names like Musa, Abdul, Ekpenyong. So in primary school, we knew that there were people who were Effiong in Calabar. We knew that there was Musa in Kano. But today, you don't have such things again. People are being taught about France, China, so they don't even know their neighbors. For me, the best that the country can do is to halt and reorganize. Like I said, the country is already united by one currency. In other words, it's a free trade zone. But the political structure is difficult.
What kind of reorganization are you talking about?
Yeah, let me tell you now. You know, you were talking about these kidnappings. There was an attack on Christ Apostolic Church in Kwara State. Then there was government secondary school in Kebbi. Then St. Mary's Primary School in Niger. They took 275 students. In Nasarawa, very close to Abuja, they have also attacked what a foundation. Now, let me take Nasarawa State for instance now. Nasarawa has a mixture of Christians and Muslims. Most of the Muslims there are indigenous, but they are controlled by people from outside. Like the Emir of Lafia is a Kanuri. The Emir of Nasarawa and Kefi are Fulani, but there are minorities within the area. If you allow them to organize themselves, they will not allow those minority elements to lead them. You can be an emir for the emirs, for the Muslims, but you cannot be the traditional ruler for the majority of the people.
Yeah.
And when they organize themselves that way, it will be safe. Production. If you are a manufacturer of motor vehicles, you need land, you need labor, you need capital. I don't see why people who engage in livestock production should be exempted from that kind of thing. Yes, you can have free ranging, but if you want to free range in my home, we have to talk about it. Whether you are the owner of the cattle or you are the shepherd, let us have an agreement. You will be here for so day. We'll do a survey of the area to know whether the soil itself can carry 50 heavy animals. Will it damage the soil? These are the basic things that needs to be done. Because, like has been proved in the Middle Belt, once cattle are coming, the militia behind them, attack. But you can't see those things and leave them. But if the government is interested in people decamping from one party to the other, they cannot reason along this line. So it's organization. Organization is a technology. It's a technique. When we had conveyor belts, it made somebody to participate in production without knowing the final product. Your own is just to put this bolt
and it's moving.
And it's moving. But when you have a different form of organization, the shape will change. So we need to organize the country for functionality. For functionality. UK, I mean, they have been having problems with the Irish because of dominance. But the Americans have intervened and helped them, and they came to the Good Friday Agreement to stop the attacks by the Catholic Irish against the Protestant minority. You need to address issues. Don't suppress them, whether it is IPOB, Boko Haram, all kinds of characters. I accept them. Say, look, gentlemen, Arewa, welcome.
What can we do?
Where is this your Arewa? It starts from this place to this place. Oh, TB, you are among the Arewa. We say sometimes, not always. Okay, go and discuss and tell us where you belong. IPOB. There are people in this Southeast who are against IPOB.
They don't believe there are a lot of
many. Not because they don't want independence or whatever, but their masters are outside here. They use it as currency. Being against the IPOB is a currency that pays them some due. There are people in this Southeast who were against Jonathan as president, not because he is not qualified, but they believe that because he's not an Igbo person, he should not be president before an Igbo person, that he should at the back. But both Igbo and Ijo are at the back. The people at the back are struggling. Who will be in front of those at the back? Yes. So we need to bring these things up. It may appear confusing, but once, like you said, stop denial. Let's talk. Then.
Yeah, gentlemen, let's, because I'm being warned that my time is almost up, but we cannot end this discussion without talking. We have problem in this, in the security sector, as it were. We also have problem with the political sector. That's when you look at what is going on in PDP. The crisis has deepened. You now have a pronounced factionalization of the party. You now have the weaker group, the other group that just got finished their convention in Ibadan. And you saw the crisis that these are part of the problems Nigeria is facing. I mean, and the president or the ruling party would have, even though it's not his political party, but in order to ensure that peace reigns, maybe he would have, said one or two things that we make the opposition try, but that is not happening. What do we do to, mitigate the crisis in the PDP?
One of the high points of today's daily says the opposition parties in Nigeria are scattering more because of increased court cases. Like you said, politics is whatever is possible, let it happen. You can't fight any situation or try to solve it if it favors you.
Yeah.
When the issue of the campaign started, it was favoring APC.
The APC.
At a point, it was against them because we started seeing people favoring, even the former chairman of APC lost his job during those initial haul. But then now when the haul is now favoring them, they kept quiet again. So that is politics in Nigeria. What we are talking about is PDP that are ruled this country for 16 years is the mini Nigeria. They cooked all the politicians virtually. They cooked all the Nigerian politicians because everybody had, on one way or the other, touched PDP. And also, if PDP become an epitome of Nigeria, whatever crisis is going on in Nigeria is what is facing the PDP.
Okay.
Because of our time, maybe we'll
let's leave it there, gentlemen. It's been an exciting moment. Thank you for coming, and I do hope that next time we'll continue to explore the the issues that have held this country down, and by the grace of God, Nigeria will survive. Yeah. Thank you for coming. My name is Mike Obani. Let's make it another day. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mike.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Signature TV, news in your pocket.
We are local.
International communities observing every
Just finished the Why the main market is in chaos. People are...
We are national.
Those in support of this motion and the mandate say aye. Aye.
We have taken the vote by default.
We are international.
Israeli airstrikes.
Donald Trump left us the worst unemployment.
Signature TV, news in your pocket.
Signature TV, news in your pocket.
Health is more than a diagnosis. It's your lifestyle, your choices, and your future. Join us on Inside Health, your weekly deep dive into the stories, science, and solutions shaping your well-being. From expert interviews to real-life journeys of healing and hope, we cover it all.
One of the complications of cancer management or treatment is they have some of them at one point in time, you see them having anemia. Okay, so you see them at times being transfused. But at the same time, you come in with a diet.
Nutrition, mental health, innovations in medicine, fitness, and everyday wellness. Whether you're managing a condition, staying informed, or just living your best life, Inside Health is your trusted guide.
I'm Tigiti Agorum, and I'll be with you every week on Inside Health, only on Signature TV.
Bright and early, as the day breaks, as the newspaper headlines trail the stories that shape the day, we at Signature TV trail the headlines that trail the day. We interrogate the headlines. We analyze the stories that make the headlines.
Why is overrated, and they even overrated themselves, and when people see it, they are insensitive of some Nigerian children who have never had what they call CBT.
With passion and emotion, we drive the conversation to change a narrative.
Let nobody be deceived by Nigerian high level of performing in agriculture export. We are still where we are.
Newspaper review on Signature TV every morning on Signature Morning weekdays and Signature New Day weekends. Newspaper review on Signature TV. We do not just review the headlines, we make the headlines relevant to our daily lives.
The way we see the world shapes the way we change it. Gender isn't just a checkbox, it's a lens, one that helps us understand the world more deeply and act more fairly. Gender Perspectives, a program for those ready to see more, do more, and be more. Designed to challenge assumptions, ignite conversations, and build inclusive solutions across every sector of society.
We are not, fighting the men. We are not saying we are equal in terms of rights. We're only asking they should recognize our existence.
Join us on Gender Perspectives, showing every Saturday by 4 p.m. Repeat every Wednesdays by 5 p.m. and Thursdays by 3 p.m. Change begins with perspective. Let's widen yours. Health is more than a diagnosis. It's your lifestyle, your choices, and your future. Join us on Inside Health, your weekly deep dive into the stories, science, and solutions shaping your well-being. From expert interviews to real-life journeys of healing and hope, we cover it all.
One of the complications of cancer management or treatment is they have some of them at one point in time, you see them having anemia. Okay, so you see them at times being transfused. But at the same time, you come in with a diet.
Nutrition, mental health, innovations in medicine, fitness, and everyday wellness. Whether you're managing a condition, staying informed, or just living your best life, Inside Health is your trusted guide.
I'm Tigiti Agorum, and I'll be with you every week on Inside Health, only on Signature TV.
New every morning on Signature TV, we open the day for you with needed energy, information, and required vibes to shape your day. From sizzling snippets of stories in various areas of life to intriguing conversations with net worth guests.
When you have people who have no track record becoming your leaders, you have a problem. There's no outstanding gratuity when Obi took over from me. I left, in all the accounts of Anambra State, 13.8 billion for him.
Your day cannot be complete without Signature Morning on weekdays and Signature New Day on weekends. There is no better way to start your day except Signature Morning and Signature New Day every day on Signature TV.
see the world shapes the way we change it. Gender isn't just a checkbox, it's a lens, one that helps us understand the world more deeply and act more fairly. Gender Perspectives, a program for those ready to see more, do more, and be more. Designed to challenge assumptions, ignite conversations, and build inclusive solutions across every sector of society.
We are not, fighting the men. We are not saying we are equal in terms of rights. We're only asking they should recognize our existence.
Join us on Gender Perspectives, showing every Saturday by 4 p.m. Repeat every Wednesdays by 5 p.m. and Thursdays by 3 p.m. Change begins with perspective. Let's widen yours.
Welcome to Global News on Signature TV. I am Barry Kumo Ado. In the headlines, Tinubu transmits legal practitioners' bill to National Assembly. Terrorists storm Kwara community, kidnap pregnant women, 10 children and others. Air India cancels flights after volcano erupts in Ethiopia. An Australian union reaches landmark deal with Uber Eats and DoorDash for minimum standards. Details shortly.
Every second, every minute, every day, news is breaking. Events occur and there are new developments. At Signature TV, we follow these stories objectively, bringing all sides without bias, explaining the complex issues, breaking down the numbers, and investigating the issues behind the news. Anywhere and everywhere, near or far, wherever the news is, we will be there. Signature TV. News in your pocket.
President Bola Tinubu has forwarded the Legal Practitioners Act bill to the National Assembly for immediate consideration as part of major reforms aimed at strengthening legal practice in the country. The proposed legislation seeks to enforce higher ethical standards, improve accountability, and expand access to justice across the country. Senate President Godswill Akpabio read the President's correspondence during plenary on Tuesday, disclosed that the bill introduces several key provisions, including the issuance of practice licenses to lawyers, a mandatory 2-year tutelage period for new legal practitioners, and compulsory continuous professional development programs. In a separate development, the Senate adjourned its sitting in line with parliamentary tradition in honor of a late Senator Okechukwu Ezea, who passed away last week. President Bola Tinubu has appointed Imo State Governor Hope Uzodinma as a renewed Hope Ambassador ahead of a nationwide rollout of the federal government's Ward Development Program. In a statement issued on Tuesday, the President's Special Advisor on Information and Strategy, Bayo ENUGU, announced that Governor Uzodinma would also serve as Director General for Party Outreach, Engagement and Mobilization. Appointment takes immediate effect. Uzodinma will chair the Progressive Governors Forum, will work with APC leadership and state governors across the country to promote the Tinubu administration's programs and achievements. President Tinubu said APC governors would likewise act as ambassadors of hope, collaborating with Uzodinma to publicize the administration's milestones since May 2023. They tasked Governor Uzodinma with ensuring that Nigerians at all levels are informed about these developments and understand the administration's progress under the renewed hope agenda. The Ebonyi State government has announced plans to establish a state-owned cement factory as part of efforts to industrialize the state. Governor Francis Nwifuru announced this during a formal presentation of a 2026 budget proposal to the citizens for their input. The governor praised President Bola Tinubu for his bold economic and social reforms, which he said has brought about astronomical growth in various sectors of the economy. He noted that without the removal of subsidy, the state budget would not have jumped from 89 million naira to over 800 billion naira in 2 years. Winfrey stated that the 2026 budget was designed to ensure completion of ongoing projects and human capital development, and called for the support of all to enable him to deliver on its mandate. In their separate speeches, representatives of traditional rulers, women's societies, elders' councils, students' bodies commended the governor for incorporating deserving sectors in the 2026 budgets. The River State Governor, Siminalayi Fubara, has announced that the 2026 appropriation bill will be presented at the new River State House of Assembly complex currently under construction by his administration. The governor made this known on Monday after inspecting the progress of work at the site, expressing satisfaction with the level of advancements recorded so far. It is disclosed that to fast-track completion, the main contractor, MCC, has subcontracted the interior furnishing to Julius Berger. They expressed hope that the main building now undergoing construction following the demolition of a previous structure after the fire incident during the political crisis will be ready by December.
It is our desire to ensure that the assembly returns back to their normal and rightful place of sitting. So this job has been on. You even remember what happened when the administrator was on, when it was believed that we weren't doing anything about the state of the complex. So I came here today to see for myself what is going on and the extent of work. I feel very impressed with what I've seen, and more especially the contractor just informed me that to fast-track the delivery of this place according to our projection, that the interior and every other work that has to do with outside the external jobs have already been subletted to a reputable company, Julius Berger, that they will commence the work of the interior as soon as possible. And I strongly believe that before the end of December, this particular place should be set. Maybe when they come in, the other side of the complex that is not part of the major work we're doing will be handled by the speaker himself. But this particular one for their sitting, I will make sure that I put it ready, make it ready for them.
Preparations are intensifying for what may become one of Nigeria's most significant constitutional updates in 25 years. At a joint retreat in Abuja, lawmakers say the decisions made now could redefine how power and resources are managed across the nation.
At the second joint retreat of the Senate and House Committees on Constitutional Review in Abuja, Deputy Speaker and Committee Chairman Benjamin Kalu said the political future of more than 200 million Nigerians hang on the decisions now before lawmakers. Kalu noted that the ongoing reforms will redefine governance, federalism, and the management of power, resources, and security across the Federation.
Section 9 of the 1999 Constitution as amended requires that all alteration to the Constitution must be approved by at least 2/3 of the House of Assembly of the Federation. This means that no matter how brilliant, how necessary, or how popular our amendments may be, they will not become law without the support of at least 24 out of 36 states' houses of assembly. State domestication is therefore the constitutional gateway through which every amendment must pass. The success or failure of this constitutional review will ultimately be determined not here in Abuja alone, but in the 36 state assemblies across the Federation.
With governors set for a crucial briefing on November 26th, the National Assembly says the next phase will test the nation's political will. Deputy Senate President Jibrin Barau, who chairs the Senate Committee on Constitutional Review, said the Senate remains committed to meaningful reforms. He explained that the retreat aims to adopt earlier resolutions, review subcommittee reports, and advance legislative work, including proposals on state and local government creation.
Our meeting today will be less deliberative, except where there is a substantive motion to reconsider any issue already concluded in the last meeting. Because the purpose of this meeting is to approve the positions reached previously and to receive reports from the subcommittees constituted to take further legislative actions on some of the bills and the issue of state and local government creation that were referred to these two committees.
Speaker of Gombe State House of Assembly, Abubakar Mohammed, who represented the Conference of Speakers of State Houses of Assembly, pledged the support of state legislatures as critical and strategic partners in national development.
As we gather here today for what has been described as the final retreat before the transmission of outcome to the State Houses of Assembly, it is clear that our joint efforts are yielding tangible progress. This retreat offers an opportunity to further appreciate the intention, objectives, and constitutional implication behind the proposed amendments.
The retreat brought together federal lawmakers, state speakers, and key stakeholders for what is considered the final engagement before the National Assembly votes on the amendment bills. Attention will thereafter shift to the states where their approval will determine whether Nigeria finally achieves the long-awaited constitutional milestone.
The 70th caucus of the House of Representatives has appealed to President Bola Tinubu to exercise its constitutional powers by granting a presidential pardon to the detained leader of indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu, following his recent conviction. Addressing journalists in Abuja, the leader of the caucus, Idumai Gariwe, who spoke on behalf of 43 other lawmakers, said the group acknowledges and respects the judiciary and the legal processes that resulted in Kanu's conviction. He noted that the issue has evolved into a national concern with far-reaching humanitarian, economic and security implications for the Southeast and Nigeria as a whole. The lawmakers argued that Kanu's continued detention has heightened regional tensions, disrupted economic and social activities, and inflicted emotional strain on families and communities across the Southeast. He maintained that the presidential pardon would help de-escalate tensions, restore public confidence, and reduce the cycle of unrest and heavy security operations in the region.
After extensive deliberation, the caucus resolved to humbly appeal to the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, to consider a political and humanitarian intervention using the constitutional powers granted under Section 175 of the 1999 Constitution to grant pardon to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Our appeal is grounded on the following considerations. 1. We believe that the continued detention of Mazi Kanu has contributed significantly to tension and agitation in the Southeast. Despite numerous calls for calm, the atmosphere remains strained. A presidential act of mercy at this time has the potential to de-escalate tensions, restore normalcy, and reduce the cycle of security operations and civil resistance. 2. Beyond its political nature, this matter has taken a deep emotional toll on families, communities, and the general population. The Southeast has experienced profound social disruptions in the form of closed markets, interrupted schooling, reduced commercial activity, and fear. A political resolution will ease these human burdens and allow communities to return to a dignified life. Thirdly, Nigeria has, in critical moments, relied on presidential magnanimity to heal divisions and consolidate peace. Indeed, the authors of our Constitution, and I mean the 1999 Constitution, conceived of Section 175 in anticipation that the bare dictates of the law may sometimes prove insufficient in tackling complex legal issues that are better handled politically via presidential discretion. It is our belief that an act of clemency by the President would resonate deeply across the country as a symbol of inclusiveness, fairness, and leadership that prioritizes healing over division.
Analysts agree with the Southwest Caucus that while the judiciary has played its role, the matter now calls for a broader national perspective. According to them, a presidential pardon will contribute to easing tensions and promoting dialogue, peace, stability, and national cohesion. The United Kingdom has rejected a request from the Nigerian government to transfer former Deputy Senate President Ike Ekweremadu to Nigeria to complete his prison sentence. With the latest decision, Ekweremadu will remain in the UK to serve out the remainder of his sentence. Ekweremadu served time in a UK facility after he was found guilty in 2023 of plotting to harvest a kidney of a young man. Received a jail term of 9 years and 8 months following the conviction, which stemmed from a high-profile organ trafficking case that drew international attention. A source at the UK Ministry of Justice confirmed to The Guardian, a UK-based newspaper, that the request was rejected. According to the report, the UK government is concerned about how the federal government might handle the case if the former lawmaker is transferred to Nigeria. A UK government spokesperson told the newspaper that any prisoner transfer is at the discretion of the UK government for a careful assessment of whether it will be in the interest of justice. Up ahead, ENUGU state government investigates marriage of 13-year-old girl in ENUGU. CBN retains interest rate at 27%. Details of these and more after the break.
Every second, every minute, every day, news is breaking. Events occur and there are new developments. At Signature TV, we follow these stories objectively, bringing all sides without bias, explaining the complex issues, breaking down the numbers, and investigating the issues behind the news. Anywhere and everywhere, near or far, wherever the news is, we will be there. Signature TV. News in your pocket.
The State Ministry of Children, Gender Affairs and Social Development has condemned the alleged marriage of a 13-year-old girl to a male adult at Amofie, ENUGU, in Ibueze North local government area of the state. Statement by the Director of Public Relations in the Ministry, Amaka Mwigwe-Odo, described the marriage as a grave violation of the rights, dignity and well-being of a child. She stated that child marriage is illegal, unacceptable and a contravention of the provisions of the ENUGU State Child Rights Law and all national and international frameworks that protect the child from abuse, exploitation, and harmful traditional practices. Ms. Odo disclosed that the ministry has initiated full investigation in collaboration with relevant authorities to ensure the safety and well-being of the child and ensure that all individuals involved or complicit in a child marriage are held accountable in accordance with the law. The ministry said it remains committed to the protection of every child in ENUGU State and be resolute in its stance against all forms of violation of children's rights and urged the public to report any suspected cases of child abuse or harmful practices to the ministry or other relevant authorities. The federal government has unveiled a new $500 million agricultural program designed to strengthen food security, improve the income of farmers. The initiative known as Agricultural Value Chain for Growth, AGRO, was introduced to enhance export-ready production across Nigeria's agroecological zones. Correspondent Chinemere Mikegbana was at a zonal workshop held in ENUGU, which brought together federal agencies, state governments, the World Bank, and private sector stakeholders.
The Agro Workshop in ENUGU is the latest step in the federal government's push to restructure Nigeria's agricultural system into a more productive, climate-aligned and market-ready sector, originated by the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security in partnership with the World Bank, the Nigeria Government Forum, and the Presidential Food Systems Coordinating Unit. The engagement brought together key players to identify persistent gaps in the value chain. The Enugu State Commissioner for Agriculture and Agro-Industrialization, Dr. Patrick Ubro, said the new approach is a departure from the fragmented agricultural projects of the past. According to him, agro will align each state's crop portfolio to local realities from soil type to market demand, ensuring that interventions are sustainable and attractive to private investors. He noted that the program is designed to link land preparation, irrigation, production, storage, processing, and digital tools into one seamless chain.
We are here for a zonal agroecological meeting to interact with the farmers to find out the actual issues that is, around our own environment. This project is coming differently, unlike other World Bank projects, where projects are being just mimed and handed down to states, to communities, in line with maybe the research or the findings in Norway, in Switzerland. But here, it's coming down to us to be specifically tailored down to our environment.
The World Bank representative, Dr. Chidozie Anyero, explained that the $500 million program is supported through a World Bank loan. He said its implementation model would depend on government's readiness to make loans, grants, or hybrid financial supports available to beneficiaries.
Yeah, this project is very holistic in the design, very comprehensive, right? We are looking at both the upstream and downstream value chain, and also the linkage between the producers and the off-takers and the processors, right? So there will be a lot of support to the upstream producers and the downstream processors to ensure that there won't be any post-harvest loss.
With agriculture contributing significantly to Nigeria's economy, the agro program signals the federal government's renewed attempt to move the sector beyond subsistence farming to making it more competitive, technology-driven, and export-oriented. But how much impact the $500 billion intervention will make depends heavily on implementation, accountability, and long-term political will. In Enugu, Chinemere Mikebunam, Signature TV News.
World Food Programme says a resurgence of bandit attacks and instability in northern Nigeria are pushing hunger to unprecedented levels, with thousands facing starvation and famine. The UN agency said in a statement on Tuesday that nearly 35 million people are projected to face severe food insecurity during the 2026 lean season, which stretches from May to September. He noted that around 15,000 people are projected to reach catastrophic hunger or famine-like conditions in Borno State, the epicenter of a 16-year-long insurgency. The conflict has killed more than 40,000 people and displaced about 2 million others in the northeast and spilled into neighboring countries. The WFP, which is the largest donor, has cut foreign aid under President Donald Trump, including to UN agencies, which other big donors, including some European nations, have also shrunk their humanitarian budgets. Barely 2 weeks after bandits struck the Christ Apostolic Church in Eruku, in Ekiti local government area of Kwara State, kidnapping about 38 members, some unidentified gunmen have again attacked the Sakba community, also in Ekiti local government area of the state. Suspected bandits, numbering between 20 and 30, invaded the community, advancing with a large herd of cattle and firing sporadically, kidnapping a pregnant woman, 10 children, 2 nursing mothers, and several others. An eyewitness confirmed that 11 people were abducted, including 7 members of the same family. Attackers reportedly escaped through bush paths connecting Eruku to neighboring communities, leaving residents in panic and confusion. Governor Nasir Idris of Kebbi State has called on President Bola Tinubu to urgently review Nigeria's security architecture for the last week's abduction of school girls from Government Girls Comprehensive Secondary School, Maga community area of the state. Idris made the appeal while receiving the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Tajuddin Abbas, who led a federal delegation to Birnin Kebbi to commiserate with the government and people of the state. The governor expressed appreciation for the visit but maintained that it was still waiting for answers from the military regarding the security lapses that allowed the attack, noting that the attack was part of a wider threat to Nigeria's stability. Speaker Abbas condemned the abduction, describing it as a heartbreaking and totally unacceptable assault on the children. He said the House of Representatives stood firmly with the people of Kebbi State and urged the government to honor the slain vice principal. Abbas announced a donation of 20 million naira to the family of a late vice principal and 10 million naira to the family of a slain watchman. Parents are still desperately searching for their children days after armed gunmen abducted students and teachers in the latest mass kidnapping to hit the country's troubled northwest region. Jinkoye, a mother whose child was also among those taken, sat on the ground near St. Mary's Private Catholic Secondary School, distraught at finding no trace of her missing child. Emmanuel Bala, chairman of the school's Parents Teachers Association, confirmed that no children had been returned. Martha Matthias, a teacher of the school, recounted a harrowing ordeal in which her husband was taken. She told reporters the armed men initially tied up her husband and demanded she come out as well.
I came to the school. I'm here searching and looking whether I will see any child that I return, but I've not seen any child.
Honestly speaking, I didn't see any child that was returned or brought back here in this school in the name of maybe they rescued him or he came back. I didn't witness that one.
I asked my husband to come out. When he came out, they now tied me. They now said me too, I should come out. Then Nathan now started crying. I said, I want to go and carry my baby. When I went to carry Nathan, Adam and now were standing with us. She now started shouting.
Just not suffers from widespread insecurity, ranging from a jihadist insurgents in the northeast to armed gangs known as bandits in the northwest who carry out kidnappings for ransom and hide in forests. As Nigeria's insecurity challenges get more problematic, many Nigerians seem not to have the confidence that things will get better soon. Correspondent Chimezie Nzedima was out in the streets of Abuja to get the opinion of some residents on the insecurity situation in the country and how they think it can be tackled.
There have been a series of kidnappings, killings. Now recently, 2 days ago, the Niger State government just declared shutdown of the entire both public and private schools. Look at what happened in Kwara State. Now, if you look at all those things, I believe even the so-called the bandits and the terrorists, it is that declaration that actually, to me, that's in kind of engineered all those recent kidnapping, because they believe that by the time they get hold of all those victims, they will use them as a shield. By the time the American government comes, it will be difficult for them to strike. But you cannot strike where a terrorist who is holding on to about 500 to 300 to 500 primary school people. I mean, it's but I believe their coming will help.
For the terrorism and genocide that is happening in this country, somehow I may say nothing is above government. But as far as government refuses to do anything, we have the world power. If world power can bring the solution, to me, I prefer the US to intervene if US can bring the solution of this country. But in other way around, that will not be the best, because the US cannot remain in Nigeria forever. So the best thing is good for Nigeria to reason and resolve the problem by itself.
Once you have a problem here, you talk about the government, that you are not confident with what government are doing. Actually, the security will trace you and come and apprehend you. But while you can see the terrorists are going up and down doing video in the social media, while the government, we have all the intelligence, they can track these people down, so they fail. I think coming to America is to intervene. I think it is the solution.
Since our president and his team is not able to secure our lives and properties, there is even need for foreign intervention as regarding the protection of our lives and properties.
Our military, they are trying, not that they are not trying. But it's like they don't have good support from the government. So that's why I suggest if the foreign military will come and help us, because I believe they will not wait for the order from our governments or from our chief of army staff. It's what the foreign country has them to do. That's what they do. That's why I suggest they should come and help us.
If you check all the rallying points all over the country, most of the people was even supporting it. Let Trump come and see how we can assist Nigeria, because it's like our government agencies are part and parcel of what's happening. You can hear from almost all the radio stations, all the TV stations. You can hear some of the people saying that yes, there are some people that are involved in this government that are sponsoring these bandits and even terrorists in this country. So we welcome that development. If there's any way he can come to assist Nigeria, let him come.
Our government, we don't know what they are doing. Yes, because this country now, the way this country is going on now, we don't know what our leaders are doing. So maybe help from somewhere will help us. Maybe we move forward. Because we cannot solve our problem ourselves. So definitely, I think foreign intervention inside this our Nigerian government now, I think is very, very important. It's helpful.
The Monetary Policy Committee of the Central Bank of Nigeria has voted to retain the benchmark interest rate at 27%. CBN Governor Olayemi Cardoso announced the decision on Tuesday after the Apex Bank's 303rd MPC meeting in Abuja. The said committee also resolved to keep all other key monetary policy parameters unchanged. According to Cardoso, the cash reserve ratio remains 45% for commercial banks and 16% for merchant banks, while 75% cash reserve ratio on non-TSA public sector deposits is unchanged. He added that the liquidity ratio stays at 30%, while the standing facilities corridor has been set at plus 50 over minus 450 basis points around the monetary policy rate. The meeting comes as Nigeria records its 7th straight month of easing inflation, which fell to 16.05% in September 2025. For more, let's look at business news.
Imo State Governor Hope Uzodimma says the forthcoming Imo Economic Summit will unlock $1 trillion in economic value. Speaking in Owerri on Monday, he said the event will launch the state's broader economic and tourism revival agenda, including a planned investment and economic summit. He also promised to push ahead with the Light Up Imo electricity project despite opposition. The Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, reports that Nigeria's money supply surged 75.9% in 2 years, reaching 117.8 trillion naira in September 2025 from 66.9 trillion naira in 2023, reflecting excess liquidity. Banks' credit to the government also rose 24.16 trillion naira, highlighting growing reliance on bank financing despite year-on-year decline on credit to government in previous quarters. The Securities and Exchange Commission (SEC) has called on market operators to maintain a proactive compliance culture following Nigeria's removal from the Financial Action Task Force grey list. SEC DG Dr. Emomotimi Agama described the achievement as a major global endorsement of Nigeria's anti-money laundering and counter-financing of terrorism framework reforms, but stressed that adherence must be sustained to retain investor confidence. Executive Commissioner of the Securities and Exchange Commission, Frana Chukwuogo highlighted the need for timely communication on regulatory changes to support compliance. Nigeria now has a body charged with regulating the practice, qualification and standards of operation in the power sector. The body, the Chartered Institute of Power Engineers of Nigeria, was established in 2023 under an Act of the National Assembly but has now been gazetted, signaling the commencement of the operations of the institute. According to the Gazette, which was made available to Signature TV Business on Tuesday, the institute will determine what standard of knowledge and skill will be attained by persons seeking to practice as engineers in Nigerian power sector. The institute will also conduct examinations leading to the award of professional competency certificates. This is Business News in Global News. Chimize Zadima reporting for Signature TV News.
Still to come, bus operators protest in Pristina, causing traffic chaos. Knee-deep floods force thousands to flee in Malaysia. Do stay with us.
Every second, every minute, every day, news is breaking, events occur, and there are new developments. At Signature TV, we follow these stories objectively, bringing all sides without bias, explaining the complex issues, breaking down the numbers, and investigating the issues behind the news. Anywhere and everywhere, near or far, wherever the news is, we will be there. Signature TV. News in your pocket.
Air India cancelled several flights on Tuesday after ash plumes from a volcanic eruption in Ethiopia disrupted operations. The airline stated that they had cancelled these flights to conduct precautionary checks on aircraft that have flown over some locations after the eruption, from a directive to airlines from India's aviation regulator. Air Alaska also scrapped numerous flights to Middle East destinations, including Jeddah, Kuwait, and Abu Dhabi. The ash cloud is moving towards China and is expected to clear Indian skies on Tuesday. The Air Meteorological Department said in a statement, Ethiopia's Gobi volcano sent ash plumes up to 14 kilometers high after erupting on Sunday for the first time in recorded history, according to media reports. Bus operators in Kosovo's capital, Pristina, staged a protest on Tuesday, suspending all lines over what they claimed is an unpaid municipal debt for the deepening the city's transport crisis. Drivers from both the public and private sectors circled the municipality and government building in empty buses after suspending their services, saying the budget deadlock means they can't pay for fuel or wages. Ilmi Gangshi, head of a trade union for publicly owned buses, said the municipality owes them 3.2 million euros.
Today I didn't go to work because of the lack of public transportation. Neither yesterday nor today have I been able to go to work. I hope that this situation will be stopped immediately and that buses will be provided for us because we cannot live like this. Even with salaries we can barely manage, and without salaries, it's just not possible.
Major Pepper in Rama accused Albin Kudi's caretaker government of not paying the municipality their funds from the budget. Kudi's government accused the mayor of failing to pass the budget on time and thus creating a crisis. Acting Finance Minister Murati said some funds had been allocated, though he and Pristina officials disagreed on how they should be used. Rama, from the opposition party, the Democratic League of Kosovo, has accused the caretaker government of pursuing a political vendetta. But the political wrangling doesn't help those who can't get to work, as Pristina resident Florin Braholi said, who hasn't been able to get to work for 2 days and isn't being paid. The dispute has already worsened traffic congestion as more people are forced to use private vehicles or wait longer for the limited transport options. Malaysians living near the capital Kuala Lumpur waded through flood waters as evacuations were underway on Tuesday, flooding floods across the country. Some residents and rescuers were seen pulling boats full of children across knee-deep waters with vehicles stuck in flooded roads. As of 12 p.m. local time, authorities reported that more than 18,000 people have been displaced by floods across 8 states in peninsular Malaysia, with northern areas bordering Thailand among the worst affected after days of heavy rain. Giant hailstones rained down on Monday in Australia's Queensland state, and more than 95,000 homes were left without power the following day as a powerful spring storm swept through the country's east coast. Hail as large as 14 cm was reported overnight in the city of Brisbane, the nation's Bureau of Meteorology said, damaging cars, solar panels and roofs. The wild weather also produced winds up to 100 km per hour and more than 800,000 lightning strikes, downing power lines and cutting off power for more than 95,000 customers, energy distributor ENUGU said. Australian delivery drivers are set to receive minimum pay protections after Uber Eats and DoorDash reached a landmark deal with the country's transport union, an agreement widely described as a world first. Under the draft terms released Tuesday, gig couriers will earn at least Australian dollars 31.30 per hour, about a 25% boost for many workers currently paid per delivery. The rate aligns the earnings with Australia's casual minimum wage. Proposal also guarantees injury insurance for drivers. If approved by the Fair Work Commission, the new rules will take effect in July next year, following last year's gig economy reforms by the government. Uber Eats and DoorDash dominate the delivery market. A local app, Menulog, is set to shut down at the end of November. The agreement also requires companies to maintain accident insurance, share job details upfront, and provide drivers access to their work records.
These are the drivers, the gig workers that deliver your food when you get onto the apps. And for too long, they were not getting paid decent wages in this country. For too long, they have not been getting minimum standards, which many other employees in this country enjoy. They've been fighting for a long time.
This moment is really emotional for me. 100 years ago, conditions of 100 years ago, without any super, you're sick, you gotta go to work. There's a hailstorm, there's a rain, you gotta go to work. You can't stop. You've worked 60 hours, just keep going. You don't have enough to pay your bills. Your legs are shaking, just keep going. Just one more order, one more hour, just need to keep going. That's the condition that these drivers were living under. And we're this close now to actually getting a minimum standard. And when I say this, I am proud, but I'm not proud as well, because we're not talking about a decent pay, we're talking about minimum wage. Let that sink in, everybody. It's a minimum wage that we've been fighting for over the last 7 years.
Well, Aussie unions have pulled off a world first. This is the first time in the world that gig riders, delivery riders have got minimum conditions and are now treated and respected as they should be. And Australian unions were never going to leave behind these workers.
China's President Xi Jinping has pledged new investment for Tonga during talks with King Tupo VI in Beijing on Tuesday, as Beijing continues to expand its influence across the Asia-Pacific. Tonga, a nation of just over 108,000